My dad is having an affair with someone who is my age. I am kind of reeling. My mom doesn't want to talk about it and just says I don't understand what it means to be married. Maybe I don't, but I really don't think this is right. My dad 49M and my mom 47F have been married 20 plus years. They have me 21M and my younger sibling. Don't want to get into siblings' age gender as they don't know anything about this. They're younger though. Sibling was diagnosed with cancer 8 years ago and it was a big journey to make sure that sibling got through it. It took a big toll on the whole family. My mom gave up her job to look after sibling full time. It was over 2 years of back and forth. But we got lucky, sibling is thriving now. My dad has a high-powered job and always worked a lot, but he always made it home for dinner. But then about a year into sibling's treatment, he started working late or going to golf club a night a week. Then over time it was 2 nights and for the past few years it's been half the week. It was always sort of clear that sibling's illness didn't exactly bring our parents together. My mom got totally into that and TBH she wasn't always very present for me emotionally, but sibling was so unwell that I just kind of got it. She's been great ever since. I asked my mom a few years ago if she and dad were happy and she said that marriage is more than just romance and rainbows and that they had a life together. Which didn't really answer my question, or maybe it did. About a year ago I finally twigged that my dad was having an affair and it had been going on for a while. Basically I found a document that indicated that he rents a flat on the other side of town. There was just this moment when I realized and my mom saw it kind of sink in and she just shook her head and I didn't say anything. 2 days ago I found out who his stress was. It's a girl who was in my class at school. Izzy actually used to go out with my best friend from ages 14-16. My friend was distraught when she broke up with him. It seems like she did this because she had met my dad. He rented a flat and they've been having an affair for 5 years. I confronted my dad and he just told me that it was none of my business, that his relationship with my mother had evolved when sibling got sick and that his Highschool needs had upgraded and that Izzy can meet them in a way that my mother cannot. WTF? He said, and my mother confirmed that he told my mom that he was planning to have an affair with Izzy before it started and that ground rules were set so that Izzy couldn't come to our house and that he would still be home X number of nights a week and that no more than £X would be spent on Izzy. My mother gave her permission and that's been the situation ever since. My mother just said she didn't want to discuss it and that relationships change over time. My dad said that he would go and stay in his flat for the rest of the week while I cooled off, but that he would come back on Monday and that we wouldn't be talking about it again. I've been living at home during the pandemic as my university has been shut and I haven't exactly got anywhere else to go. Plus my mom doesn't want me to go. And sibling is still in school and doesn't know anything about this. I'm physically kind of nauseous about this whole thing and I don't want anyone to know. My dad is just a total creep. I hadn't spoken to Izzy in a long time, but I remember her as really quiet and very clever. She is also very beautiful. Her parents had a very messy divorce during the last couple of years at school and I remember her being very upset about it. I can't believe that she's put in 5 years of her life into this. My friend really loved her. He spent a good 2 years trying to win her back. I don't know what to do. I need a roof over my head, but I don't want to look at my dad's smug face again. I hate how my mother can't meet my eye. I feel like sibling knows something's up and I don't want to lie. It's like the house I thought was made of bricks was just made out of straw, but I don't know if I have spine to blow the whole thing down. Would we be better off? Internet people, fresh perspective appreciated. Update: my dad is having an affair with someone my age. To the people who said that my dad is a cool dude is who killing it and that I was jealous, I suggest seeking therapy for your tortured self-esteem issues. To the people who said that it was an open marriage, a fetish for my mother too, nah. I get that polygamy may be a good thing for some people, but I think that's often about one person being selfish at the expense of the feelings of their partner. It has become very clear that this has been what is happening here. In the end, sibling found out what was happening. I told her that I posted and she said, thank you for protecting her privacy, but she was fine with people knowing her age gender. So yeah. She's a girl and she's a teenager. I realize that my instinct is to protect her from back when she was ill, but she's actually one of the strongest and resilient people that I know and she doesn't really need it. When Dad came home, Sibling and I confronted him again. He was a bit freaked out that Sibling now knew too. He explained it all again. He met Izzy and became transfixed by her barf, and so he told her that he would like to start a relationship. He said that he started by meeting Izzy for coffee to work out ground rules with her, and that he also worked out ground rules with my mother, but when Sibling pushed, he admitted that he had told my mother that he would want a divorce if she stood in the way. It really does sound like the freaking weirdest adultery that I have ever heard of. Not that I have actually ever met anyone else who cheated. During the time that he and Izzy were talking, Dad found a flat and furnished it for their meetings. Given that over time Dad has been increasingly absent, Sibling pushed again for an explanation, and he said it started off one evening a week, after which he dropped Izzy back at her parents', but over time, they started staying over together for special occasions, and then every week until where we are now, where he's been here half the week and the other half with her. He also said that the flat they use now is not the same one they started out with, because it's now one that Izzy lives in full time, while the one they had for the first few years was just a bedsit. He finally admitted that he has consistently gone over the budget that he agreed to my mother that he would be spending on his affair. Sibling told him that she wasn't happy staying under his roof anymore and packed up to go stay with her boyfriend. She told our mom that she loves her and will be back when Dad is gone. My mother kind of freaked out and asked her not to go, but Sibling just said again that she wants nothing to do with our father, and she took her case and walked out the door. I ended up confessing all to the girl I've been seeing for a few weeks, and I fled there too. I was really hesitant as my situation is extremely new and I hadn't wanted to give her the impression that I'm some gross guy like my dad. She turned out to be very understanding, but I've promised that this is a very short-term fix. A friend of the girl I'm seeing apparently has a room coming free in his house share, and I'm about 95% sure I'll be moving there at the start of May. Affording it may be tricky, but I will make it work. Back at the homestead, Sibling has also been in touch with our maternal uncle, who I think is stepping in to lay down the law to my mom that she needs to kickstart a divorce because this situation is utterly unacceptable. If we were in America, Dad would have liable for criminal charges. I worried about burning down the house, but the house was already very much on fire. My parents will be separating even if people who love my mother have to step in directly. Someone commented about boiling frog syndrome, and I think my mother is very much a little boiled frog, but I am very hopeful that we can extricate her from this situation to a more positive way of being. And, ultimately, I drafted a text message to Izzy, as I think I have her number stored on my phone. Thoughts on whether it would be wise to send would be appreciated. Hi Izzy, my name here. My dad's probably told you that the family are now all aware about your involvement with him. I just want to make clear that we bear no ill will towards you personally, and that we wish you a brighter tomorrow. My dad's selfishness should not dictate your destiny, and I hope you find your way to a future that does not include him. Redditors' reactions. Last update after. Redditor 1, yeah bro, divorce is better here, and your father is a remorseless cheater, and stay with your mom. We are here to help you anytime. And did you tell that girl's parents about their affair? If not, tell them too. Stay safe. Sorry, English is not my first language. Redditor follow up. Hi Izzy, my name here. My dad's probably told you that the family are now all aware about your involvement with him. I just want to make clear that we bear no ill will towards you personally, and that we wish you a brighter tomorrow. My dad's selfishness should not dictate your destiny, and I hope you find your way to a future that does not include him. Why are you even care about this, Izzy? She know he is married. Tell everyone, let them face the consequences. And she was having an affair with 40+, and she knew she will never marry your dad, but she continued it knowing there is no future with him hurting your mom. And my words, tell her to fuck off. Stop ducking. Forgive the people who know exactly what they are doing is wrong. Good luck op. Edit. Redditor 2. Your draft message shows a huge amount of maturity and compassion. Regardless if she deserves it, you are a good person and should trust your instincts on how to communicate with Izzy. You know how she would respond better than any of us internet strangers. Redditor 3, I went back and read your original post, and all I can say is wow. I mean, I understand that relationships change over time, especially when dealing with children, whether they be healthy or sick. But it seems like your mom had no choice but to go along with your dad's lifestyle change. I'm 52, and even to this day the thought of sleeping with one of my friend's dads grosses me out. I know the MILF DILF thing is a thing, but a 16-year-old? No. Just know. I hope that your mom will make the decision to put herself first and get out of that one-sided relationship. I wish your mom and you and your siblings all the best. Please keep us updated. Redditor follow-up. I'm 52 and even to this day the thought of sleeping with one of my friend's dads grosses me out. Of course. Because your friend's dads these days are like 80. Probably like pushing a rope. Redditor 4. I think how you all are handling it is fine. My only suggestion, in your message to Izzy, is to relay what, specifically, your dad was selfish about, and to explain that it was not okay with you. For example, his strong-arming your mother into accepting what he wanted, and that was not okay. Her age might make her more susceptible to this. And that's not even unpacking the age differences and when he started their relationship. Because, as time goes on, she may be strong-armed into something she's uncomfortable with if she sticks with your father, and may not have the maturity to understand she 1 doesn't have to put up with it and 2 that it's not healthy in a positive relationship. My heart goes out to all of you. One person's selfish behavior causing a lot of anguish and the dismantling of a family is never an easy thing to go through. It sounds like all of you will be going through a lot of changes, so it might be beneficial to see if you can seek counseling together with your mom, or suggest counseling for her, too. Redditor follow-up. 100% agree with this. Definitely let Izzy know exactly what she has gotten herself into and the damage albeit indirectly she is causing, both to herself in the future and your family. The only thing I fear is that Izzy is probably dependent on him at this point, so it might be a bit difficult to pull the rose-colored glasses off. Update. Thank you and farewell. Hi to everyone who had constructive advice. Just want to say cheers to all who got in touch with helpful things to say. Much appreciated. It's been a weird couple of weeks. My sibling is now planning to move back in with Mom's sister will also be bringing her BF with her. So strange. I was literally banned from going on holiday with my then GF at that age, but I think she's just being the youngest child who sets her own rules and that's fine. Anyway, this is all happening as our father has now left for good. I think I'm staying moved out as I think at 21 I just don't want to be living in my childhood bedroom. But I will be visiting home fairly frequently. My girlfriend has now met mother and sister and although that felt quite out of the blue, it was nice and felt like we mom, sibling and myself are going to come through as a family after all of this. No idea what's going on with Izzy but going to keep message in draft for another couple of weeks till the dust settles but then probably send it. I just want to explain that I'm not going to post or update after this because Reddit is weird. Like really ducking strange. So many comments telling me to contact Izzy's parents no matter how many times I said they were a train wreck. So many messages telling me that I'm a virgin who's jealous of my dad, including a few that were weirdly threatening. So bizarre having strangers screech down the internet at me for not minding my own business when my mother has been subject to coercive control for years. My mother broke down in tears about how trapped my father had left her feeling and that she didn't know how to get out. My uncle told me privately that he has got some serious Sally Challen vibes here and we are just grateful to have caught on to what was happening before my father pushed my mother too far. So apologies to the sane 95% who have been wonderful, including those who expressed concern that we were taking over and making decisions for my mother, because that is a valid opinion and one we do need to consider. You are all wonderful and compassionate humans. But I'm not scared of the remaining 5% sitting there with their shriveled DCKS in hand whacking off to the idea of a man in his late 40s screwing a vulnerable barely 16-year-old. Really makes me as a bloke realize the insidiousness of the patriarchy and how it salivates over situations where women have been oppressed. Anyway, I'm off. All best to most of you, but to those who get their kicks via coercion, get help. Right. Beer time. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, I'm rereading this and I know you probably won't see this, but even if you don't reach out to Izzy, reach out to her friend that gave you those dirty looks. She knew then, and she might be easier to talk to or get the ball rolling with this. And also you're a spectacular person. I'm glad you and Sib are taking care of your mother. Your dad isn't a shoal and absolutely not who you have to be or will be. You're proving it every day. Redditor 2, I'm happy your mother made it out of this, because this is a situation that would have worn her down to death, no doubt. I know you said Izzy's family is a mess, But I don't think you understand that most parents, even S-itty ones, would be very concerned to find out that while they were in the midst of an ugly divorce, their 16-year-old daughter was being dicked down by a 44-year-old man. Your father has proved himself to be a liar. I don't see why he wouldn't lie about her financial dependence on him, or consent. Besides, her family issues were years ago. It could be better by now, and she could be so much worse. I know she might not be a victim, but that's what people said about your mother. Also, if your father deals with people in that age range, you may want to inform his company.